Hello Gadgeteers. I figured I'd do another video since I'm in the mood for shooting videos. Okay, I'm never really in the mood anymore. It's just a therapeutic exercise that I think I should do because it gives me something constructive to do, and I enjoy it once I start doing it, but at least initially, not so much. I just shot a video about Fedora 31, so I figured now is as good a time as any to shoot an update video. Now, I have my Sony AX3, AX53 camera on a really crappy tripod, so if it falls over, I'll have to fix it, of course, and you'll be the first to know. So before I get into the updates, just the usual preamble. I have a heart condition called dilated cardiomyopathy, but it's a special one, a special edition of dilated cardiomyopathy called non-compaction dilated cardiomyopathy. I usually just call it DCM for short, but the long and the short version of the story is that basically my heart didn't develop right when I was but a youth, when I was a baby, so unfortunately my left ventricle is very weak. The muscle walls are weakening rapidly and my heart is enlarging, and it just isn't going to keep going for very much longer. I need to get a transplant, but before I can do that, I more than likely will have to go on a pump called an LVAD, a left ventricle assist device, which does have over an 80% success rate, not just for the surgery, but after that. It's the other 20% I worry about, but one step at a time. So I wanted to give you an update and let you know where things are as of the last video. So things have been pretty rough the last couple weeks. Usually I'm able to just kind of get by, but I've noticed as time goes on, I'm less and less able to do, the basic functions. Taking a shower is just very difficult. When I take a shower, it is like a workout for me, and once I do it, I feel like I was exercising for 3 or 4 hours, so I'm just wiped out for the rest of the day. One of the big things is I really can't, excuse me, runny nose, I really can't eat anything that has more sodium in it than 2,000 milligrams. So, well, in actuality, when I say, I screwed that all up. I really should only eat 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. If I don't, I get very, very sick and I gain weight very rapidly. So usually I'll gain like 7 to 10 pounds, and just that 7 to 10 pounds of water weight makes it very difficult for me to breathe. So that's been an ongoing thing, but it's kind of coming to a head. It's culmination now. Basically, back when we talked before, I was on 40 milligrams of toresemide, which is what I use to keep the water weight off. It wasn't successful, so they upped me to 80 milligrams. That wasn't successful, so they've upped me to 80 milligrams twice daily for a total of 160 milligrams a day. Basically what it means is my heart's getting sicker and it's more difficult for it to pump, and increasingly we're relying on my kidneys, which are still healthy, to void this water off of me. Normal people don't have to put up with this because their heart's healthy and the blood gets pumped around the body and it's able to reduce sodium naturally and through your bodily processes. So that's the first problem. I went and saw the doctor, and she upped a medicine that I'm taking called Entresto, which is kind of the cutting edge of heart therapies. And it's very, very expensive, so I'm fortunate enough to be able to get it from a foundation, which I'm really grateful for, so I get it free. She upped the dose of Entresto and lowered the dose of metoprolol. Now, Entresto gives me performance, so it dilates my blood vessels open so that I get better performance on my heart. It relieves my heart of some of the work of getting the blood through the arteries and the veins and all that. The metoprolol reduces unstable beats, palpitations, and so on. There's many other heart medicines I'm on, but those are the two that changed. She upped the Entresto to the maximum dose, lowered the metoprolol in the hopes that my blood pressure wouldn't get too low. Unfortunately, it does get low, especially when I'm trying to get up. So that's one of the side effects. The major benefit is I can breathe a lot easier. Even sitting now, I'm noticing symptoms. So, like right now, it's hard for me to catch my breath because I've been talking, and it just becomes difficult to catch my breath. Unfortunately, because of that blood pressure issue, when I stand up, my blood pressure will go very low, and I have fallen twice now, which is bad because I'm on blood thinner. If I hit my head or any internal organs, I have to go into the hospital and have them check it out. The 2 times I've fallen, I've been very fortunate, and I haven't passed out, but it kind of sneaks up on you. Like usually I'll sit up in the chair and then I'll move around, move my arms around, move my legs, and then I'll get up and I'll just wait 30 seconds, see what happens, and then if I feel okay, I'll begin walking. Well, I had some eggs I was boiling, and I left them on the burner too long, so I jumped up and started moving for the kitchen, but within 5 seconds, I reached my bedroom door, and I opened it up, and that was all she wrote. I fell like a tree in the forest after being cut down, smashed into my dog's storage box for her food, a big plastic bin, and tore that thing to shreds. The funny thing is, several hours later, after all of this, I felt something funny in my pocket, and I literally had handfuls of dog food in my pocket. I don't know, maybe it was a late night snack or whatever, but my pocket was full of dog food because I smashed through that plastic bin and dog food went everywhere. My sister came over and helped me clean it up. Thank you, sis. And so the concept of getting up is much more sensitive. And I've also noticed when I eat, even if I eat very lightweight food, maybe 300-400 calories, the digestion pulls so much energy from my body that it's even worse. And what happens when I'm digesting food is when I try to walk around, I can feel the energy. It's like there's 2 or 3 gravities pulling me down instead of one. I just can't do stuff. And I have many people saying, wow, you talk so slow. Well, one reason is my heart isn't beating right. And second reason is I'm on a mega ton of drugs. I take like 30 pills a day, and one of these days I got to go through all of them with you and let you know what they are. But it really messes with your brain. And what I found out is, what people always say, well, if you knew you were passing out, why didn't you just sit down on the floor? And I'm like, and that's a good question. Well, I'm going to tell you the answer to that is within 5 seconds, the majority of the blood has left your brain and you are not thinking rationally anymore. Having the ability to say, I should just go ahead and sit down on the floor, it's gone. You're in panic mode. Your brain can do the basics, which was basically grab the desk and hold on to it and hope this passes. I didn't know any better to fall to my knees because I wasn't thinking properly. So those are another side effect I had from the medicine change. The good news is it does make me breathe easier, like we talked about. I have another problem that has crept up, and now it's surfacing more and more, so I'm going to have to get it corrected. Basically, if you imagine my heart, maybe about this big, and it has two leads that are the original leads when I got my pacemaker defibrillator back in 2010. Well, this year we put a third lead in, but the third lead did not use the barb on the end to shoot it into the muscle, and the muscle heals, and when it pulls away, it can't get out of the muscle anymore. This one goes up in an artery and it just kind of sits there, and the three together beat the heart as one. So it made me feel so much better when I got it, and I could still tell. It's just that my heart's weakening fast. Anyway, don't mind my cat. She's coming in. You're going to hear her meowing. She wants something. I gave her water and food, but that's not good enough. Janie! She's 20, I think, 19 or 20 years old now. Buddy, I'm busy. Anyway, lost my train of thought. So the three wires are pumping my heart. Well, for some reason, the third wire can incorrectly send the contraction signal. So instead of going to just my heart, it literally makes my entire left side, my rib cage and everything beat. And it is very disconcerting. The doctor said it's not necessarily dangerous, but it does need to be corrected if it continues. At that point, of course, when I met with the doctor, it only happened once. Well, now it's happened 5 or 6 times. So I'm going to see the doctor soon here, and I'm probably going to have to go in and have that corrected. Hopefully they can do it on the computer with programming. Might not be able to, might have to go in. I just can't tell you how weird it feels. It feels like somebody's just squeezing my entire rib cage when I'm breathing. When it's happening, my breath comes out. It's really bizarre. Now, all the times that it's happened was when I was laying down and I jumped up and the feeling went away immediately. The first time I felt it, though, I bet you can imagine what I was thinking. I was back to last January. I was so panicked. I was terrified I was going to have to dial 911 and have to go to the hospital and get shocked with the paddles, like you see on TV. And it's like this whole year's been relatively peaceful except for, January, and then I was in the hospital in a lot of February and March and April, and then I had a really good summer. The PTSD, if you will, starts to fade. And I've tried to explain to the counselor I talked to that it's not what's happened that scares me, it's what's coming. So I had that peculiar beat because the lead wasn't sending that electrical signal correctly. And I was sitting straight up in the bed in 0.2 seconds, terrified that the next step was coming. And it seemed like just a second had passed since I had been at the hospital. And It was bad. I had to take 2 Xanax, and even that wouldn't calm me down. I tried to do logical thinking because usually when I do that, it breaks me out of my panic attack. So, I've always heard that if you have an emergency, you will always fall back on training. You can't think your way out of an emergency. So I went ahead and I have a base station here that can transmit data from my device. So, I put the what looks like a mouse on my device, transmitted a file, tried to think logically, do I need to go to the hospital? I'm not having any other symptoms, no chest pain, no dizziness, no blurriness, none of that stuff. Usually when I call, they'll ask me the basic questions. Any chest pain? No. Are you dizzy? No. Did you pass out? No. Do you feel like passing out? No. Okay, call us in the morning. So I went through the usual list, and of course, when in doubt, you should call. And it was relatively harmless, so it's not like I'm going to die from it. It's just very disconcerting. What else is going on? I could just feel that my heart is getting weaker. Oh, speaking of that, I wanted to mention, so, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I could eat like 2,500 milligrams of sodium and it wouldn't be a big deal. Now, if I have one piece of pizza, I will gain 4 to 5 pounds of water weight, and it takes days and days to get it off, and it takes 160 milligrams of toresemide, so I'm literally blasting my body with this toresemide to keep the water down. The problem is when you use diuretics, and I'm sure, Brian, you know what I'm going to say, high-dose diuretics can damage your kidneys. So the damage can be temporary or it can be permanent. If it's permanent and I damage my kidneys, I'm screwed. So we're running that fine line between we need to get this water off so I feel better, and we don't want to give him so much toresemide that it kills his kidneys. And so I have to keep the sodium intake to as low as humanly possible. Now, today I've only had 1,200 milligrams, and I've been using a diary to log everything. I basically can't have hardly any sodium. 1/2 of a cup of low sodium Progresso soup is too much. 480 milligrams, for example. These are things people don't even have to think about. I watched a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial, and they had that big bowl with corn and potatoes and chicken and just gravy. And I looked at that and I'm like, my God, that would kill me. I think at this point, if I was to eat a Whopper, I don't know if it would kill me, but I think I would be in the hospital really quick. So things are a little rougher than I had hoped. But I did survive a whole nother year. I survived, January 6th, I will have survived a whole nother year. I'm really happy that I did that, and I might need this LVAD. I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be so scared when I have to do that surgery, but I'm going to do it. Because at that point, there will be no choice. All right, any other updates that I need to give you? I think that's everything. I'm just taking it day by day. My doctor switched me to monthly appointments now. It's so funny. It reminds me of when my wife was pregnant. We were having kids, just all this massive preparation and getting ready for the day the baby comes. Well, in this case, the baby's going to be the LVAD pump, and it's going to come the day something goes wrong again. Basically, if I get shocked by my device or I have to go to the hospital and get shocked, that's it. I'm going to the hospital. I'm going to get the LVAD. There's no choice. All right. Well, that's all I have for you now. You know what Spock says, live long and prosper. So get out there and do it. And despite your predicament and your situation, whether it's depression, mental stress, physical stress on your body, both, you're not even sure you can get up in the morning and carry on, please carry on. Because when I hear your stories, when you write back to me, it's so inspirational. Because I know I am not in it alone, that other people go through tremendous trials and they get on the other side of it somehow. And when you write your stories to me, it's very powerful. It really, really, it comforts me, especially when I'm panicked and I'm afraid. Thank you for watching. See you next time on Fast Gadgets. This video was made possible with support from viewers like you. If you find this video useful, consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/fastgadgets.